This is Talk About Topeka on Gab Local TV. This episode sponsored by Field of Greens and The Break Room. Here's your host, Chris Schultz.
Well, we have a treat for you here, folks. We have Joanna Lassley from Helen Hawker Theater, and we're talking about Bonnie and Clyde. Not only an incredible musical, but there's some opportunities for people to audition for the show. We want to find out a little bit about the show, and so that's why it's so exciting to greet Joanna. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me, Chris.
How are things going over at Helen Hawker?
They're going really well.
You always have a lot on your plate over there.
Yes.
This is, the audition process is happening, or currently, depending upon when you're catching this interview, either has happened or will be happening soon. So I want to talk a little bit about that for Bonnie and Clyde. Mm-hmm. Now, first of all, let's start with the show. It's a musical.
Yes.
I can only imagine.
Yes.
I'm not familiar with it, so give me the elevator speech about the show.
You bet. It is a musical, as you can no doubt guess, a musical telling of the story of Bonnie and Clyde. Most of it takes place from their first meeting to the point of their deaths. And it is beautiful. It does a good job of telling the story and humanizing them, since there are two lead characters who we follow. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't glamorize the fact that they were criminals, they were murderers. What they did was not good, mm-hmm. and it doesn't take that away. So you see this spiral that happens once they meet, and they kind of go down this path, and then they start killing people. But it's absolutely gorgeous music. There are other characters. Bonnie and Clyde, of course, are our two main characters, but his brother Buck and his sister-in-law Blanche are two pretty huge supporting characters in there, who a lot of the story involves them as well. And it's an incredible musical, some really beautiful music.
And so we've got the auditions are coming up for that.
Yeah.
But the show itself runs April 22nd through May 7th. Mm-hmm. And so people will have a chance to do that. The tickets are not on sale yet, but they will be soon. But we want to talk a little bit about the audition process.
Yeah.
What's it like when you have kind of an open call, for auditions?
It is, right. It's an open call.
So walk us through the steps there.
We try to make it pretty easy. We'll go Saturday and Sunday. We go 1 to 4 o'clock on Saturday and 1 to 2:30 on Sunday, and then start callbacks after 2:30 on Sunday. But for someone to come in and audition, we do ask that they call and make an appointment ahead of time. Mm-hmm. If you call our box office or our office line, Linda's usually the person who answers. She's our office manager, and she typically answers that. Mm-hmm. You can schedule an appointment with her. We like to do that so that we can stagger our auditioners. That way, if someone surprises us, we can still take walk-in auditioners. That's perfectly fine. But sometimes if there's a backup, you might end up waiting a little while longer, mm-hmm. as opposed to when we schedule you. But the first thing we do is we have, of course, a form that we have you fill out, basic information, your contact information, your availability, because we tend to rehearse Monday through Thursday nights and Sunday afternoons. Mm-hmm. So your availability is important, because we rehearse a lot leading up to the show.
You have to be there with the team.
Yes. That does make it easier when you're learning all these songs and dances and lines. Mm-hmm. After that, we usually start you off with singing, and Mark Pudwell is our music director. He is amazing. He is really lucky to be able to get him on this show. Mm-hmm. So everybody will be working with him. We ask people to prepare a portion of a song. We can take an auditioner if they don't have a song prepared, but it really does behoove you to have something prepared. Mm-hmm. Something that shows off your voice. If it's from the musical Bonnie and Clyde, that's great. That's mm-hmm. fine. If it's not, that's fine too.
Doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be, right. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be from that show. Sometimes that makes it go a little faster if you do know the music already, and if there's a piece from Bonnie and Clyde, then Mark can get a good idea of how you sound. Mm-hmm. But if you've got a piece from another show and you bring that in, that will work too.
Cool.
But he needs to hear everybody sing, figure out ranges and who sounds great singing what. Mm-hmm. Then folks will dance with Sally Glassman. She is our choreographer. Mm-hmm. So she will teach a short dance combination. It's not a massive dance-heavy show. And I don't want to minimize her role in it, but it's not like we're not expecting you to come in and flip across the stage. It's not like that. Mm-hmm. So she'll have a short dance combination that she teaches everyone, which we'll expect everybody to do. Okay. But if you're not the world's most fabulous dancer, don't let that deter you.
Okay, so Frank still qualifies.
Frank still qualifies. Frank can dance. I've seen him dance. And then we'll have folks read from the script, and I'll assign short scenes from the script and some different combinations. And nobody has to have any monologues memorized or anything like that. We hand you the script. You and whoever you're reading with, you'll have a partner that you're reading with, have a chance to go over it a time or two in the hallway, and then you come back in and and read/perform. And then
who
we'll
are
cast
the
based
people
off
in the community that are doing this? Is a lot of the same people over and over? Like, do we get new people coming in? Like, how does that work?
It's a mix of both. I mean, you tend to have the Topeka theater community is pretty huge.
Yeah, it is.
And so it's not unusual to see faces that you've worked with come back, or someone that maybe you've worked with them before, but it's been a couple years. I'm kind of expecting to see that this weekend. But I don't
People
know.
grow through that audition process?
Yeah.
Like they might audition and see what it's like, and you see them grow from show to show?
I've seen a lot of people come from, from their first audition where they were terrified to where now they've done a couple shows, they've done a lot of auditions, and now they're pretty comfortable, and so they know how to get in there and show what they have. And but I think it's the same at Civic, but I know at Hawker, we always have a few new faces who come in and then blow us away. And it's incredible. With the show we just closed, Clyde Park, had a couple, and Trakea Pollard was in the show, and I had never worked with her before, and she walks in and she's fabulous, and so I hope that we will see some folks like that, some new faces come in who we go, oh my gosh, where have you been?
And it's good to have the standbys as well too. Yeah, I mean, it's just when you're doing that, it's kind of good to have your options open.
It's nice to have kind of a mix.
Yeah,
if you have a mix of people who are experienced with people who maybe you haven't worked with before, not necessarily inexperienced, but people you haven't worked with before. It keeps it fresh so that you do have some fresh faces up there.
What's very cool to find out about the audition process for the show, and of course it's not coming up right around the corner, but the auditions are. But check out Bonnie and Clyde the musical happening at Helen Hawker Theater. It's happening April 22nd through May 7th, so already get that thing on your calendar. Get out there. Tickets $13 for adults, children $11, and you can call. The tickets will be on sale starting April 1st. So get that in the calendar and get those tickets. And thank you so much to Joe Lassley for coming out and telling us all about it. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.